Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Prep, No Problem. I'm Matt, and I'll be hosting today's topic. We also have Scott and Daniel here with us.
Ooh.
Hey, guys.
I actually didn't really plan on hosting today, but hey, I don't have any prep for that, so that's no problem. So I actually
Nice.
grabbed two random items from my room, which I had decided was going to be my topic today. So today, to reveal today's topic, I have these two items over here from my bedroom that I randomly grabbed impulsively. And today's topic is how to manage this and this.
Time and
A calculator and money.
It's a watch.
It's a
The
calculator.
time.
That is a calculator.
It's a calculator watch. This is a Casio 1980s calculator watch. Thank you.
Nice.
This actually is the exact watch that Mike Wheeler wears in season 3 of Stranger Things. But that's not the point. The point is that today's topic is money and time management.
All right.
Mike Wheeler. I thought it was Joey Wheeler.
Let's start off with
Oh,
Daniel.
nice Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
Wait, I missed the Yu-Gi-Oh reference. What'd you say?
Was it Mike Wheeler? I thought it was Joey Wheeler.
So right now, 5 points for that, but Scott also has 5 points, which is rolling over from a previous episode from our music episode, for knowing that Rob Thomas is the lead singer of Matchbox 20. So because Scott's already well ahead, but we're gonna start with Daniel to get so he can get boosted up some. Daniel, you are such great with managing money. What are some of your tips, things you do with your own life, things of how you feel that anyone can manage their money better?
Ooh, money, money, money. I didn't realize this was going to be a financial discussion. Man, let me go and get my portfolio
No
out.
problem, right?
This is the perfect guy to ask, too.
The easiest thing to do, as far as money goes, is figuring out what is a want and what is a need, right? So the moment you can go, all right, do I actually need this or do I just want it? Because people are always going, oh, I need to eat out. Well, you don't need to eat out. You just want to eat out. You do need to eat. I'm not saying you don't have to eat. You don't need to eat. You do have to eat, but you don't have to eat out. You can always go and just buy groceries in the grocery store. That saves a lot of money, especially if you do stuff, bulk meal prep. These are all very basic things. Don't spend more money than you have. That also leads into time management, because if you're not sitting there wasting all your time shopping on Amazon or Temu or Shein or any of these websites for crap that you don't actually need, then you save time, you save money, you can actually do more things with your life. But I could literally talk for the next hour myself on this. Scott, what are some of your hints and tips for saving time and money?
Yeah, I want to add on to what Daniel just said about the food. I would say that when you start looking at food so recently I've been trying to lose some weight, eat a little better, eating less, and that naturally is also saving money as well. That's awesome. And I think once you start to look at food as fuel instead of like a treat or I'm not saying don't treat yourself or every so often. Of course you got to do that every so often. But when you look at food as fuel instead of, dude, food costs so much these days, it is ridiculous. And just since COVID, the past 5, 6 years, it has gone up tremendously with everything else. I'm sure we all can relate to that.
Yes.
I'll just say that with food, it is one of the worst. I've learned that it's one of the worst things to spend money on, like copious amounts of money on, because you got nothing to show for it. Like the next day, what do? You poop it out. You got nothing to show for it. You know what I mean? You,
You might as well just be wiping your ass with that money, right? Just like why bother spending money on toilet paper? You could just get a bidet, right? But personally, I like toilet paper, but I might as well just be wiping my ass with cash at that point.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well. And then next thing you know, it's like you spent $30 on food. Next thing you know, you got nothing to show for it. You're gaining weight. You got less money. That would probably be the biggest thing, would be food, especially in today's economy, how much it's gone up. Daniel, we can look this up real quick, but if you could see, it's some absurd amount of like percentage that McDonald's, it specifically, has increased its prices in the past 4, 5, 6 years since COVID. And I knew this was going to happen, boys. I knew it was going to be one of those things where, oh, we're increasing our prices because of COVID, and then they just never come back down. You know what I mean? Like, you
So
guys can't name one thing that has dropped in price.
no, nothing's ever going to go back down. On average,
No,
McDonald's menu prices have increased by 40% roughly since 2019.
Ooh,
And
that's
that's
insane.
almost
yeah,
half.
what's crazy is
Almost
like
half,
you can go
dude.
to McDonald's and get like a number one. I don't even know what it is, but I'm sure it's close to $15 by now, between 10 and 15.
Yes,
And yet you can go to a
right.
place, I think it's like TGI Fridays or Ruby Tuesdays or one of those like quote unquote sit down restaurants and spend like $15 on a steak and sides. Cool, you can get a cheap cheeseburger from McDonald's or you can get a steak. Why
And
why are things so crazily priced like this?
right, and what else are you getting out of that? You're getting the experience as well. You're not just going through a drive-through. You're getting, an experience sitting down with the wife and kid,
Yeah,
or
you have someone
to
serving you.
Daniel
Bonding.
specifically.
Now tipping will kill that as well because, even if it's
Sure,
$15 for your meal, then you have to put an extra 20% or so for tipping. Ooh, how do you guys feel about tipping culture nowadays?
tipping culture is crazy. It's
I don't
crazy.
understand why I feel behind when you ask that question. I don't know what
Well,
you mean.
so whenever you go basically anywhere now, they have their stupid little iPads or toast or whatever the square or whatever the thing is, and they turn it towards you saying, "Would you like to leave a tip?" And those tips start typically at 15% and go up. I went to a place, the starting tip was 20% and it went up to 35% for the tip that was right in front of you. Because it
That's
was 20,
crazy.
it was 25, it was 32, and then it was 30, 35. They are able to choose those percentages, but why would you tip 35% on a meal you just got or a drink? In America, there are waiters, the minimum wage for them is still like 425, I think.
Yeah, it's
And it's
crazy.
like, okay, the minimum wage across the entire country is 725, but because of tips, they still have to report them. Supposedly, a lot of people don't, from my understanding, but they're supposed to report their tips and they get taxed on that. That's supposed to be money for them to survive, and then they're supposed to
You
get taxed
shouldn't
on it, which is why
you
most
shouldn't be
people.
taxed on it.
No, you shouldn't. And I think that's something politically speaking, and let's not get too far into politics today. But that's something that
Sure,
they're
sure.
trying to
Agreed.
get rid of right now, as well as paying on tips. But there is no reason that the minimum wage in this country hasn't changed since what is it, the 80s or something? It's been 725 for ages.
I think
I mean,
wasn't it around
I
Obama? Like
I
08,
mean,
09?
for me, I got my first job when I was 18, working the minimum wage at 7.25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
2009.
yeah,
2009. That's insane.
yeah,
And how much has and I'm not saying to look this up, but this is crazy. How much has inflation gone up since '09?
a lot.
Probably a
I
crazy
mean, the
percentage.
minimum wage should be higher than that.
Right,
Uh,
and they need to kind of scale it a little bit, in my opinion. I don't think that you should be taxed on your tips. And a big thing to me is, say if you get something delivered like pizza, like Domino's, dude, they're charging you like a $5, $6 delivery fee, and they even put on the box, this is not going to your driver. Well, why isn't it going to my driver? First of all, I don't think they should be charging $5 or $6 for delivery, especially if it's just coming from half a mile away or a mile away, something very close. But how much better would you guys feel if you knew that that $5 was going straight into the driver's pocket? I'd feel much better about paying
Much
the extra
better.
$5. It
now
shouldn't go to the corporation that's already making money hand over fist.
that's something I've always been curious and I've never looked up is that delivery charge going towards the gas for that driver or is it just a
Um,
thing going straight into the corporate pocket?
an old buddy of mine, he used to work at a pizza place, and I want to say that they maybe gave you a little bit of a reimbursement on gas, maybe like 20, 30 cents a mile, something like that. So you're still, paying for the gas yourself. You're putting the wear and tear on your car. Sure, you might be getting some of that back, but I don't think you're getting the full, like, if I spend $6 on 2 gallons of gas, I don't think they're getting the full $6 back. But I do think I've read that, might be wrong here, but what I'm thinking is that DoorDash, Uber Eats, those third party delivery companies,
Hmm.
the dashers or drivers or whatever, I don't think that they're even getting anything for their gas. They cover all the gas. And I think it's get DoorDash delivered. I think the driver gets like $2 base plus the tips.
Okay.
That's absurd. So they're putting, wear and tear on their car, mileage, they're spending gas.
Yeah.
It's bad, dude.
So
It's horrible.
I just Googled Domino's delivery charge, and now this is the little AI thing at the very top. This is not like official from Domino's page or whatever. but it says that the delivery fee is intended to cover the costs associated with delivering a pizza, such as fuel, vehicle maintenance, and labor, but not the driver's pay. I don't understand how that works because typically it's their own car. So if it's their own
It
car
is.
and it's supposed to be helping cover with maintenance and fuel and labor, but not the driver's pay, then how is that not labor?
I think they're just saying that to sound good. I don't think it's
Right?
going to any of that really. I think they're just saying that to look better, you know? It should be
Also,
going
Yeah.
100% to like the tip. It should be going 100% to the driver.
well, but it's not a
100%
tip.
of it.
That's the thing. It's like if that's subsidizing their pay, that's one thing. Not everybody tips. If there's a
Right.
delivery
Then
charge
you
on
don't
there
have
that
to.
is actually a part of the payment scale for a delivery driver, 100% I support that. But if they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't get tips on this, back in the day, they didn't have that delivery charge, but they expected to get tipped. If I'm paying
Yeah.
a delivery charge now, do I need to tip? Because that should be
Yeah, you
subsidizing
still
their
do.
pay. But yes, you still do because
Yeah,
they are
because in
still
our
not making
brains,
a living wage.
Exactly.
You go to a bar and like that's tipping culture for ages, right? You were always expected to tip on an alcoholic beverage. But then they started doing it at coffee shops too. You just poured me a black coffee and you expect me to give you 20% tip on that? No, I'm not paying you that. Now, if
No.
they're actually like making you a mocha frappa venti latte or whatever the heck that crap is, I don't drink any of those things. If they're actually sitting there and having to actually make you a specific drink, that's different. But if it's like, oh, here's your coffee, no, I'm not going to give you a tip on that. You just poured it out of a pot. Leave the pot out here. I could do the same thing.
Exactly. I look at it as if I pick up my own food, I'm not tipping. The reason why I'm tipping is because you're bringing it to me. So if I get something delivered, yeah, 100%, I'm absolutely going to tip. But if I walk into a Chipotle or Moe's or something like that, and I think they've started doing that lately too, putting those little screens up there. If I'm walking up to the counter and grabbing my own food, then why should I tip you? Because the tip was for convenience for you to bring it to me.
Right. And that doesn't make any sense to me either. A lot of restaurants have started doing that. You can go up to the little screen, you can order your whole meal through that, but then they're like, do you want to leave a tip? I'm going to tip them for doing the job that you're supposed to be paying them for. That's
Right.
the whole point of
That's a
them
different
having a job
story.
here. Also, according to this, again, it's the AI overview on Google. It says since 2009, the average rate of inflation is 2.42%, and that the cumulative price increase is 36.41%. So if stuff has gone up by,
Wow.
call it 30% just to make numbers even, how come minimum wage in this country has not gone up by, at the very minimum, 30%?
Exactly.
Then again,
And
there are a lot of companies nowadays that pay double minimum wage starting pay.
sure.
I believe like
Yes.
Target,
Yes.
Walmart, which are
Yep.
the
All
two of the
them.
biggest retailers in our country. A lot of grocery store chains, I think Food Line and Whole Foods, Kroger, I think they all start higher. They all start higher than minimum wage. So it's very rare to
Yes.
find a minimum wage job in this country now. Most places that use that wage are like small mom and pop shops. The problem
Yeah.
is that they can't hire anybody because they can go across the street to the chain store and make double to triple the pay versus, working at the small convenience store or grocery store.
I actually have a
Right.
lot of information on that because I've had to do my own projects and things I'm working on. I've actually reached starting pay for things. And for example, the starting pay for working at Target in the state of Louisiana is $11 an hour. But that's the lowest cost of living state in the country. Then in
Really?
Minnesota, the state that I live in now, the starting pay is 17 an hour. And of course, in more expensive states, California, Hawaii, these ones would be even higher than 17. So you've got to realize when you talk about starting pays and things of that nature, that cost of living and the same job per state, but in different states, we're going to have different rates for things based on cost of living as well.
Right. Because if you say Louisiana, your rent might be, and these are just random numbers, but I'm
Yeah,
probably in the
like
ballpark.
800 or something.
Right. And then you go to California and it's 2,500. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like, sure, you're making an extra
Minnesota,
$6 an
1300,
hour,
whatever.
but your rent's triple. To me, if you're running a company and you can't afford to pay your employees well, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong.
Correct.
And even if a lot of it comes down to greed, they want to line their pockets more. If these rich people start increasing the wages, they're still going to be able to wake up in their yacht in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. You're still going to be able to do all that. You know what I mean? But the
Yes,
difference
correct.
between what someone getting a few dollars an hour raise could mean the difference of them being able to afford rent or not. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Because with rent,
Correct.
you give 100% of the rent every month, or you're either not living there or you're paying 100%. So they're not like, oh, okay, well, it's 1,300. We'll take the 1,100. Get us back some other. No, that is not the case, and it's hard out there. I'm telling you guys, it is very tough out there.
It's very
And
hard. And yeah.
And to me, it is on the rich to look out for their employees and to also look out for the consumers, us, the ones that got them rich in the first place. You don't get rich if you're not selling stuff. You know what I mean? Like Walmart, they sell stuff, so they're rich. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Look out for the people, going back to the prices of food and just everything that has gone up. Look out for the consumer. We're the ones that got you rich in the first place because we bought your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's as
Yeah.
simple as that.
For me, I probably did mention this maybe in a previous podcast. Biggest problem on the planet, in my opinion, number one biggest problem on our planet, wealth disparity, and that less than 1% of the population is holding like 90% plus of all the money in the world.
That's
where
crazy.
Jeff Bezos, owner of Amazon, is worth $200 billion. That's ridiculous. And so we now live in a day and age where corporation has become king. And Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, Amazon, all these big corporations, Dell, Microsoft, whatever, Nintendo, these all big, humongous corporations, they're the ones holding all the money. They've got all the stuff. And the CEOs and the people that own those companies, they're the ones who have all the money. And everyone else, like you said, doesn't.
Wrapping it back around, instead of just trashing on companies and corporations and how they should treat us better since we're the ones paying their bottom line, what are things we can do to actually make time and money work for us and make it better? Okay. The first thing I've always told people when they're trying to like get out of debt or just trying to figure out the best way to spend their money is start with your most basic stuff, your housing costs, all of your debt, figure out how much you owe for everything, figure out how much you actually need to survive. Let's just make up some numbers here. Let's say it costs you $500 for rent, costs you $300 for food, costs you $200 for utilities. Okay. So that's $1,000 right there. And we'll just call that basic living, right? If you make $1,500 a month, that means you have an extra $500 you can do whatever you want with. Of that $500 for your future, guess what? At a certain point, you're not going to want to work anymore. So you should be putting anywhere from 10 to 25% of that away. All right. So of that $500, 125 of that should be going towards retirement, which is investing. Everyone gets scared of investing. The easiest thing to do right now is just drop it right into the S&P 500 because that's playing the market, the entire market, not just a single stock. Now you have the rest of that money, the other, what is that, 375? My numbers are right?
375, although I'm one who doesn't know what an S&P F5, whatever you just said, I don't know what that is.
The S&P 500?
It's a sector of the stock market, and you're taking it in its entirety instead of just putting, say like, oh, I'm just going to buy Walmart stock overall. And I think historically, year over year, it goes about 7 to 9% increases.
It goes
about 7 to 9,
8 to 12% year over year.
8 to 12.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a little bit higher than like the Dow Jones or one of the other ones. And what it is the 500 top companies in. I believe it's in our country, but it's also kind of skewed because like the majority of it, at least currently, I think, is Tesla stock and Nvidia and like other tech stocks.
Yes,
which skews it because they're like, oh, it's the top 500 companies, and yet like 90% of it is in 10 companies. Very much that disparity is exactly the same even in our stock market because that's where the money is. So you invest in something that has the money, you're going to make more money. But once you've paid all your basic necessities, that $1,000 of your $1,500, and you put away your 15 to 25% into retirement, what's left over is the money you can actually do whatever you want with and have fun. Whether that's, going to the movies or whatever else. In this example, it's a very basic example. I was including gas for your car, maintenance for your car, an emergency fund. You should always have an emergency fund because, hey, what if all of a sudden a tree falls to your house and your insurance doesn't cover that? Well, now you still got to get that fixed. If you put on a credit card.
What insurance is? Yeah.
And like you should have your insurance premiums all covered too, because if you don't have, enough to cover all that, like your deductible, usually you have insurance on your house, thousands of dollars of coverage, but that first $1,000, you have to cover it.
Exactly.
So you should have that minimum amount on hand because what if, insurance is willing to pay the rest of it, but if you don't have that $1,000, guess what? You're not going to be getting anything covered.
Yeah, and your insurances should be on your list of, minimum bar, what bills every month and everything. Insurances definitely are on there. Life insurance, car insurance, all the other different insurances on top of utilities and everything else.
So once you get this basic list of, hey, these are necessities, and then as well, your little bit of investing for the future, everything else is fun money. And you should take that money and enjoy it. But you have to make sure you cover your basic stuff first. Because the moment that you get a credit card, and you start swiping it, and now you're paying an extra 35% on anything that's left on that credit card, it
Literally.
will kill you. It destroys you.
One of I think that's very important for our listeners to hear, because I like doing this podcast. I really do, because I feel like we intermix fun things, like let's talk about music or movies or whatever. Also things that are meaningful for your life. How do you manage money well? How do you manage time? Or how do you get over your fears? Like our first episode was about fears. Helpful things for life. For me, one of the most important things I think when we're talking about money is you want to be debt-free. Always. Now, if you're already debt-free, then stay there. If you're currently in debt and you're not debt-free yet, then you need to come up with productive and constructive plans to eventually get yourself debt-free to where you don't have 3 and 5 and 7 credit cards and your 10 and 20 and 30,000 in credit card debt or whatever your numbers are.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Because then you will never be able to do that, as Daniel was saying, that 125 a month in his scenario. You're never going to be able to put that away for stuff, because that $125 a month that you put away for your retirement is going to your credit card interest costs.
Yep.
Right. And if I could add on 2 things there. One is, yes, as far as staying debt free, yeah, like if you're debt free, make sure you stay there, because Daniel said if you can't afford to hit a deductible or something like that, next thing you know, if you start swiping your card, then yeah, you're getting literally 30% is pretty standard. That's most credit cards are around there. That's not too crazy,
Yep.
to think of. And
Yeah, most credit cards are like 29.
right, exactly. A lot of them are around that 30% mark.
Yeah, and you've got to have an emergency fund, a simple one, because you can have an unexpected $1,000 car repair. You can have an unexpected $1,000, a tooth goes bad and you need $1,000 dental repair immediately. You've got to have funds for that.
Exactly. And if not, then you're putting it on your card. Next thing you know, that $1,000 you swiped, in 2 years from now, by the time you pay it off, that 1,000 turned into $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, you're not paying it off in one large lump sum, but you're dragging it out for years.
Yep.
Especially when we throw in minimum payments at it. Credit cards you can ruin yourself with them, but they also are if you use them correctly, it's a good tool to build your credit. And, people can talk about credit scores, this and that, whatever you want to think about it. But at the end of the day, you got to have good credit these days to be able to get things. Because, none of us can go and buy a house right now and put $400,000 down fully and buy a house. You're going to, at some point in your life, unless you're rich, you're going to have to take some kind of a loan at some point. And would you rather have a 4% loan or a 20% loan? You know what I mean?
Right.
So credit cards can be good if you use them correctly.
And here's my thing on building credit. What I feel like credit is if you get credit cards, build your credit. You will lose money in the percentages that you're going to lose out of interest. However, yes, your credit score will go up. So in my opinion, just getting credit and doing everything that I just said, you're basically paying a convenience fee to increase your credit score.
Yeah.
Right now, I took out a loan to cover the cost of replacing the windows in my house. Needed to be done. The windows were the same one from the 80s, and you could stand, 3 feet away and you could feel the wind coming through the windows, right? So they might as well have been open. Like during the winter, that's not fun. Like it's cold outside, and I'm trying to keep a house warm.
Right, and then your bills increasing on top of that.
Oh yeah, it just makes your bills all go up. Yeah, but even though let's use round numbers, I took out about $10,000 a loan, right? My credit score dropped 80 points, right? I was at the 800. I'm now at like 720. Okay, so I still have fantastic credit. I know that, and I'm very grateful for that. The smart thing to do is if you have to do something like this, make sure you have the money up front. I had the money. It's sitting in a bank account making 4% interest. The loan I took out is at 0% interest for the next 2 years. So for the next 2 years, yes, I'd still have my monthly payment of like $400 a month. But over the next 2 years, I'm not going to get any interest on that. Now, if I don't pay it off before those 2 years, there's back end interest that'll hit at like 20%. I have the money already. I could pay it off tomorrow if I wanted to. I could pay it off right now. But I'm not going to, because that 4% that I'm going to be making from my bank on $10,000 is going to help me make money rather than spending it on something else.
Exactly.
You get 5 points for that, by the way. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, that's very smart. Yeah, Daniel, I think that was a very good point there. The thing is, not everyone can do that, because some people will touch that money for other things beforehand. It takes a very a very, determined individual to not be able to touch that money for something else, regardless if it's a separate emergency that arises or if it's, oh shit, I want to go take a trip and blow some money.
Yeah, let's go to Harry Potter World.
Yeah, this is why
Right.
very specifically, I love my bank. I bank with SoFi. Okay, they're like an online bank. And the really cool thing is that they have something called vaults, and you can actually open up a vault, put money in it, and then like you can still access it anytime. But when you can actually put a title for what it is, it literally says Windows on it. So the money that I have for the Windows is in my little vault that says Windows, and that's just going to sit there and keep getting that 4% interest. If I needed to do something else, I could put it underneath a different designation. We have a car that we're about to buy. We now have a small child, and the cars that we have are nice, but I'd rather have a van, something that's newer, more reliable, make sure that we're not going to have any issues in the near future. So we're buying a van. We actually have another vault that says van. So when we get around to buying our van, that's the money that we have for it. That's the nice thing about SoFi, is that having these different vaults is you can put it in there and then you don't actually see it for your main account. It's off to the side. So that way you have no idea how much money is there. It's just doing its own thing. You don't have to worry about it. You don't see
Out of
it. You don't
sight,
have to
out of
worry.
mind.
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind. You don't have to worry about it.
Right. And if I could add to that, as far as Daniel was saying earlier about the retirement, a great thing to do would be, obviously you want to set up a 401k with your employer. Most of them offer this. Why I'm saying that is because it's out of sight, out of mind. Whenever I get a paycheck, the money's gone already. I can't spend something I don't have. Matt asked me for chips right now, potato chips. I can't give you potato chips because I don't have them. So what I'm getting at is whenever the money's already come out of it, the money's gone. It's already, when I say gone, you can't spend it. It's already sitting in your retirement. You'll thank yourself later when you're 65, 70 years old and you don't want to work in it. Because I mean, if we don't want to work now at the age of 30, so, still being young, if you don't want to work now, it's like you sure as hell don't want to when you're 70. So yeah, I like the fact that they just take it straight out of your paycheck. You don't even have to do anything yourself. They do all the work for you, and you can't worry about spending that money because you can't, because it's gone already. Out of sight, out of mind. So
And the nice thing is that because it comes out pre-taxed, you actually make more money that way, because it's
exactly.
before your taxes hit. So it's money you're not even taxed on. It goes right to the account. You can put up to $23,000 into that account throughout a year, and that's a lot of money. Some people don't even make that much money, but any
Right.
little bit you can put in there, even if it's only like 5%. On top of that, a lot of 401ks, company matches.
Yeah.
If you can get free money from a company because they'll put up to 2% in, if you're putting 2%, cool. I'm going to be putting in 2%. So that way I get 2% as well from my company for free.
Exactly. And then you can take the rest instead of putting all your money into your 401k. A lot of people say put in enough to get that match and then take the rest of what you were going to put in and throw it into like an IR, like a Roth IRA or something. And then that way that's post tax. So now later on, you're not going to have to, when you withdraw, you're not paying any kind of penalty on it. So
Correct.
it's, I think what is it, after you're 59 and a half or something like that, you don't pay any penalty.
Yeah,
Or
59 and a half.
something.
Yeah, there's no early withdrawal penalty and there's no taxes on it because you've already paid the
You
taxes
already
for it.
pay taxes on it. Exactly.
And it's growing,
So,
it's compounding, it's growing interest free,
yes.
or not interest free. It's growing with the interest of whatever you put into, whether you invest in stocks, bonds, whatever you have them set your Roth IRA to do. As long as, guys, I can't say this enough. Please do not forget to invest the money you actually have in your 401ks or your Roth IRAs. A lot of people open up these accounts and then for some reason they're just like, oh, it's in there, cool. But they didn't invest in anything. So they get
Right. It's
like
just
a
sitting there.
1% growth. It's just sitting there like,
Right.
oh, I put in, for the last 30, 40 years, I put in 10% of my money. Cool. That means that there's only 11% in that entire account.
Yeah,
Make sure you
exactly.
invested in something. Doesn't matter what, just invest in something.
If you did what Daniel was just saying, where you don't invest in anything, that's extremely safe. You're not getting much on it, but you're not going to lose your money unless that specific bank goes under or something. The odds of that these days probably pretty low. But if you're throwing it into the market, sure, you're taking a chance on it crashing. But if you're throwing it into the S&P 500 or something like that, like Daniel was saying earlier, it's historically proven to what'd you say, 8 to 12% per, or 10 to
Yeah.
12% per year.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
that's strong.
on
You know,
average, it's 10%.
10%. And I mean, that's strong. And then, you got to think it's compounding, like Daniel said. So next thing you know, it's like your money's making money. Your money's making money, and then that money is making money, and it just compounds. And next thing you know, if you make it to retirement age, hopefully you will, then guess what? Maybe you can have a nice retirement and enjoy the last bit of your life. But what I am scared of is, so say if we have whatever amount they say currently, if you needed to retire today, however much money you need to have, let's just say, random numbers, say 300 grand.
They say $1 million. And if you have $1 million in investments in retirement and you use the 4% rule, which says that every year you're retired, you only take 4% out. That means that every year you'll take out $40,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you're saying you need a mil, like cash. You're not saying net worth. You're saying straight up cash funds in your.
Not cash funds, but yes, $1 million in investments in your retirement fund. And then you live off just the 4% interest. And I mean, like, I don't know how much you guys make, but like, I didn't make, well, I made around $40,000 last year, and that was plenty for me to live on. Now, granted, in 30 years when I'm actually retired, that's a little bit different, but as inflation goes, as everything goes, I should be getting promotions and other increases to my wages at work. As long as I continue increasing that amount, then, I should have more than $1 million in retirement by the time I retire.
Well, yeah. So, well, what I was going to say is what I'm scared is that, okay, so when the three of us were kids, $1 million, oh man, that's a lot of money. That's awesome. And don't get me wrong, I could do a lot with $1 million right now. It's $1 million today isn't what it used to be. So I'm scared by the time the three of us get to retirement age and we have, however much, like, okay, if we need $1 million now, what is it going to be by the time we retire? Maybe it's 2-3 million by now. You know what I mean? Like houses, because we've all seen, especially me and Daniel, because of the area that we're in, we have seen an increase in cost of housing in the past, again, 5, 6, 7 years has gone up so much. I've seen $150,000 houses here in 7 years go up to like 250 grand.
My house, I bought it 10 years ago for 100. It is now, according to Zillow, valued at 250. I do not think it's worth that at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These houses are overpriced and they're not worth it. But at the end of the day, you don't want to sleep on the ground outside. You got to find somewhere to sleep.
True.
So
and right now is a renting economy, right? Right now it's cheaper to rent than to own a house. But the assumption is, and these are broad assumptions, is that by the time people are in retirement, they should already have their own house, right?
Paid off.
It should be paid off. And that means that all you're doing is paying property tax on it. The property tax on my house last year was like $900. All right. So $900 a year is way easier than the, what did I pay for my house last year? Why am I blanking? $650 a month is my mortgage. So that's roughly $7,000, right? So like, yeah, 900 is nothing compared to that. I'm very blessed.
Yes, you lucked out when you got your house at the time you did, because like you said,
it's definitely
a lot more now.
Seller's market right now. It's
Yeah,
definitely the seller's market. If you're selling right now, great, because the house because they're up. When you sell, you're gonna make a lot more than you would have before.
Right.
Yeah, but I think also for money, as money goes, another great thing of how to have good money is multiple streams of income. I think is a very important thing to do, because most people, not all people, but maybe some people, they go to work and they come home and that's it. They have the one paycheck every 2 weeks from their job, and that is their one and only source of income. And when you don't have multiple streams of income, where you have getting paid for different things, like you said, your money is for you without you having to touch it, or you have money in investments, or you're a creative person and you're writing music that you can sell as albums online, or you're making artwork that you can sell on Fiverr or all these sites and whatever. If you have multiple other things going, YouTube, and you're getting revenue, I can't say revenue. Revenue from that or from sponsorships. Having multiple streams of income is very, very important, because if you just go to work and come home and that's all you do, and then something happens to that job, you go from having X amount of income to having no income at all.
Mm-hmm. I hope you're listening. Anyone from SoFi listening, just let us know. We check comments and whatnot. Um, no, I'm kidding. But and I want to share a little tip that what I do with what I've been doing at work for the past I don't know, a couple of years, not a super long time. And it might not even sound like a tip because of how simple it is. Every time I get a raise, I just simply increase the percentage that they're taking out from my 401k. Just bump it up even 1%. Say if you get a 3% raise at work one year, bump it up 1%. Now it's like you only got a 2% raise, but you're putting more money into your retirement, and you'll thank yourself later when you're 70 years old and houses around here aren't 400 grand like they are now. They're, $2 million just for an average house. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So, but that's the biggest thing what I'm scared of is, let's do it like this. Most normal people, they're never going to hit that $1 million mark like Daniel is talking about. Most people aren't going to hit that, and it's unfortunate. It'd be great if you can. Most people aren't going to hit that. But what is that 1 million? What is that $1 million mark going to be in 35, 40 years from now? When we're trying to retire.
Yeah.
Because
Could be a lot higher.
exactly. And then I look at it like this: the age we are right now, we need to do another one of that before we can retire. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean? Just
agree.
before
Yeah,
we can retire.
totally.
I mean, that's crazy if you
That's
think about it that
absolutely
way.
crazy.
So I looked up
Agreed.
a calculator real quick. Okay. And we're all 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we started today, we had nothing in retirement at all. If we started today, right? And every month we could put away $750. Okay.
Ooh,
Sounds like
that's
a
a lot.
lot.
Yeah.
It's
Woo!
not crazy unreasonable, right? But if we got even the most minimum return rate for our money at 8%, right? I feel like that's
Okay.
conservative. Others might say 6% to be super conservative, but I think 8% is pretty decent.
I think
After
that's pretty
30
fair to say.
years, we would have 1,056,000. So
Wow.
1,056,000.
After
Um,
how many years did you say?
after
35?
30.
30.
30
30
years.
years.
After
We
30.
we can
Yes.
still
When
do
we
this,
were
boys.
65.
Yeah, when you're 65. So, but yeah, so starting this month, if you dropped in 750 into a retirement investment account and you invested just in the S&P 500, did absolutely nothing else, and it did, you know, what it has
The
done,
bare minimum.
statistically speaking, we should have $1 million in retirement, no problem. And again,
Mhm.
at that point, when you're in retirement, like I don't know how old do you guys expect to actually live? That's the real question.
That's the thing, and I think
We
that's
have no
why a lot
idea.
of people aren't really work. I think and I think some people don't want to contribute to their retirement as much as they should because you
They
never
think,
know. Are
oh,
you
I'm not
ever
going
going
to
to
live
be able to
long.
use it? Yeah,
YOLO.
maybe. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to live long enough to retire. Who knows? I might not. I don't know.
You just got to YOLO it,
So
right?
exactly, but I look at it as I would rather have something and not need it than
Hmm.
to not have it and need it.
Exactly.
So just play the long game. It's not hard to learn to do those things. What's tough is actually doing it. You know what I mean? Like making these cuts, that you need to make in your life and actually doing it. It's easy to sit here and think about, talk about, but when push comes to shove, you actually have to be able to do it.
It is and it's not. If you say, okay, if you sit down at the beginning of the month and you go, okay, this is how much it cost me for all of my expenses. This is how much it cost me to pay off any debt that I have. How long will it take me to get out of debt? Once you're out of debt, it's okay. This is how much it takes me to cover my monthly expenses. And then this is how much I need to put into retirement. And then everything else is fun. You can do anything you want with the rest of that money as long as you make sure you have, and you have an emergency fund. Have that first. Then everything else becomes fun. I've helped a couple of friends get out of debt a few times by going, hey, this is how much money you're making. This is how much debt you have. Let's pay off that debt as quick as we can, right?
Mhm.
Here's some money that you can 50, $70, whatever. Yes, that's not a lot of money, but with that 50 or $70, just for fun money, you can go out to the movies. You can go out with friends a couple of times, depending on what you're doing. There are things you can do for that little amount. Otherwise, go to a park, go do some free fun, go grab your friends and have a board game night, right? Tell them, hey, I'm throwing a party. It's BYOB, right? Buy a couple packs of chicken and some pasta. Make some pasta and chicken like Alfredo or something. It'll cost you like $20 to make that. Have them bring the alcohol, right? Get completely smashed and play some board games. A lot of fun.
Yeah,
And it only costs you like
yeah,
$20 to actually do it because, like, a big pack of chicken and pasta, both very cheap. You can get 8 pounds of chicken for like $8. It's still almost $1 a pound, depending on where you go, what you buy, and everything. But
Right.
even still, it could cost you as little as that. Have your friends bring alcohol. Be like, all right, now it's a party. Everyone drinks like it's the end of the world, and then you just relax. It costs you nothing, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. And
Good tip.
I understand why a lot of people do have a hard time going, hey, I have issues with money because I've put myself in debt because I just had my credit cards. I just kept swiping them, swiping them, swiping them. I have all this debt. Those habits are hard to break. But
Hmm.
once you figure out like what is that one thing that is your demise and you can learn to work around it, it'll make things a lot better for them. Right.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm even recently learning that like even saving just even $200-300 a month, I mean, goes a little further than what you think, and it makes you feel good. You know what I mean? When you're like, okay, instead of me, oh man, I just got my next paycheck, I have zero from the last one. Now I got 200-300 bucks. Makes you feel kind of good. And then once you get on that track, I think and you start to see results. It's almost like weight loss or something. You see results, then it kind of pushes you like, wow, this is working. You start getting on the right track. You start looking at things differently, thinking about things differently. So yeah, good
But
tips
the
there,
hard part
Daniel.
is that all of a sudden you'll plateau. And when you
Hmm.
plateau, just like with losing weight, just like with exercising, you go, man, that
You get bummed
cheeseburger
out.
and that alcohol looks real good right now, and I don't want to go to the gym. Let me just spend
Yeah.
all my money instead. And that's the hard part
Hmm.
is like resisting that and pushing yourself up. No, I can't spend the money on bull crap like that. I need to eat, the good healthy foods, the roasted chicken with all the vegetables. I need to go back to the gym. I need to keep pushing myself.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
hard
and I
part.
think it's right, and I think it's even harder these days than it's probably ever been because you have such easy access to, like me and you can go online right now, and we can order something and get it shipped to our house in 3-4 hours from now. It's never been so easy in the history of history to buy things and spend money right now. On the flip side, it's also never been as easy it is to make extra money. Kind of like what Matt was saying earlier
Yeah,
with different revenues of
Income.
like income.
income. Yeah, multiple streams of
You can
income.
do
Yeah.
right. You can do YouTube. You can do, there's OnlyFans is a thing. There, what I'm getting at is there's just so many different platforms and different avenues. By the way, Daniel,
Oh yes.
speaking of OnlyFans, Daniel, do you want to drop your want to drop your link in the comments in the description
I
box
don't think that's
for yours?
appropriate for this channel, sir. If someone can find it, good luck.
He doesn't have one, guys. I was kidding.
That's what you think.
He doesn't.
Today's topic was time and money management. Although it seems that our entire discussion was pretty much money management. So maybe
Money.
perhaps another day we will have a time management one because I think both money management and time management are two humongously important things that if people can just get their money and their time managed properly, they're going to have a wonderful life. So, reviewing, we discussed today for money management, we have do everything that you can to get out of debt, get your credit score up, and open 0% interest cards. If you're trying to build credit, get a 0% interest card as much as you can. Know what is a need and what is a want, and get your needs and your minimum expenses, ironed down to as low as possible as you possibly can. Take your profit margin, whatever's the extra surplus money that you make per month from that point, and you have to put some of it away for retirement, in whatever banks or whatever stocks or whatever things that you want to do that as high a percentage rate as you can find. Make sure you have an emergency fund put aside as well for emergencies. Any extra from all of that I just said, enjoy your life with it. To those who are 18 and brand new to the adult world, you need to first find a job or something where you can and earn enough money to save up for an apartment, either rooming with some friends or getting one for yourself. Save up to get an apartment if you're wanting to move out, from family, whatnot, and save up to get a car if you're a driver. But if you're a driver, car as well. And then once you're in that scenario, follow this guide that we've just discussed and what I just ironed out for us to where you can eventually save up for a house and then buy your own home from there. Time is also money. Time is money. And the ones who have the least amount of time value time the most and value it, if not more, than money. Doctors, lawyers, CEOs of companies, they value time because literally for them, their time is money. So also view time as a resource as part of your money as well.
Yes.
Yep.
That was
Live with your parents as long as you can, because rent sucks, and it is not fun when your rent's like 45% of your bring home income. So live with them as long as you can.
When you have an apartment, yeah, it's like 50% of your income goes to your rent. But then once you buy a home and you've got a lower mortgage, all of a sudden now maybe only 25% of your money goes towards your rent or your mortgage or your payment.
I agreed with everything Matt said, with the one caveat that if you get a 0% interest rate on a credit card, you still pay it off as quickly as you can, and you don't like whatever that, because that's always a promotional time. You have that card paid off before that promotional time is ended, because when that promotional time ends, if you still have stuff on there, a lot of them, some of them, you will get hit with back interest, and then you're screwed.
Yes.
Just in general, only spend on credit cards what you already have. Use them like a debit card. Because if you use a credit card like a debit card, you'll build credit, you'll always be able to pay them off, and you won't have to worry about, oh, I paid the minimum this month, I can pay the minimum next month, but now you're getting interest, and you don't want interest on credit cards.
Yeah. And you get some cool cash back on it too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for example, I don't mind saying this real quick. I have a 0% interest card, $1,000, and my date I think is February 16th-ish or so, 2026. So I have until then to pay off that card.
Normally those promotional periods are normally like 12 to 18 months around there, somewhere typically around there. You know, it all varies.
Yep.
Pop quiz. What does tip, like we were talking about tips earlier, what does tip actually mean? Hands up. I don't want to see anyone trying to type it on the computer. What does tip mean? Anybody?
Oh, I used to know this.
Oh, I don't know, dude.
It stands for something. It is an acronym for something.
It is, and I it's in the back of my brain, but it's not coming to me. What does it mean? What does it mean? I'm gonna face palm as soon as you say
points. No one knows it.
I'm gonna face palm as soon as you say it.
It means to ensure promptness.
Ah.
Okay.
Yep, I knew that. I knew that.
To ensure promptness. The idea is that I'm tipping you. If I order my food and you get it to me quickly, and I that doesn't have a soup or whatever, and everything is great, then I give you a high tip because you brought it to me quickly, promptly, and efficiently and wonderfully. You did great. If you didn't do great, then I don't give you a good tip because you did not. I'm giving you a bad tip to ensure that you were not prompt with your stuff. And yeah. So anyway, you both get 0 for the top quiz. So Scott had 25 points today.
Okay.
And I did the fives thing because I found this really good. And Daniel is the one who just barely won at 30.
We're getting awfully close with these.
Yeah, we are. Which is good because that means we're all doing really, really good.
Hang on, is that including his 5 bonus points from before?
It's including his 5 bonus points. He had a rollover, something that happened from another episode, and I felt like I don't know if maybe that was fair.
No, it was definitely fair.
It was very fair. So I also gave you, Daniel, one 5-point thing, which is a rollover item, which I really do think that you are well deserving of, which is out of everyone in my life, you know how to manage money best out of anyone that I know. And you have helped me greatly with my financial situation in getting it way better than it, or at least better than it was. And in the future, it will get way better than it is. And you get 5 points for helping me through all that. So that's going to be your thing to kick you into the bonus today.
It's not exactly fair, but I appreciate it.
You each get a rollover thing, and yes, but no, I mean, Scott, you had the thing about wiping the money instead of toilet paper, just use money, and talking about rent, talking about I can't read my own handwriting, some other stuff that I can't remember. And Daniel, your opening comments were fantastic. You spun us back at some point. We lost ourselves, and you spun us back. Talked about tips, talked about 0% interest in stock, and you were just so knowledgeable. And yeah, this was a great one. I like this one. Next time later, we'll do it just a time management.
That sounds good.
Can I say one last thing before we give Daniel his speech for winning?
Yes.
His 30 seconds of free time. I just want to say, guys, don't go looking for Daniel's OnlyFans. He does not have one. Trust me, I've spent several hours, many nights trying to find it. It's not there. So don't even let him trick you.
Anyway,
Daniel, 30 seconds. What do you want to talk about?
If you guys actually want to get into investing, I'm going to shout out the Money Guy Show. Check out the Money Guy Show. I love them. They do a lot of good rules. They have a great way of setting up yourself for life. I found them a while ago, and while I was already doing a lot of things they said, they had other things I hadn't thought about before. So definitely check out the Money Guy Show. They're top tier. They will help you get to retirement if that's your goal, and beyond, right? That they can definitely make sure that you become wealthy, not just rich. Anyways, I got to go, guys. Thanks for watching. Deuces.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Deuces!
Bye. Love you guys. Later.